approved online for medical marijuana in just minutes. Visit leafwell.com to speak with a physician online today. Many states, including Louisiana, allow medical marijuana use for any condition that would benefit the patient, including insomnia, chronic pain, anxiety, PTSD, and more. With Leafwell, it's fast, easy, and affordable to get approved. In fact, get approved or your money back. Visit leafwell.com to see if you qualify and get approved today. Use code KB123 for $15 off. Welcome back to Realistically Speaking with KB. I'm your host, and this is episode number 8 of the show. And today's topic is medical marijuana in the workforce. How does medical marijuana affect the workforce, you ask? Well, medical marijuana in the workforce right now is unstable. As I mentioned in several episodes, the federal government will not change marijuana from a Schedule 1 drug to a Schedule 3 drug or higher. Why, you may be thinking? Back in 1970 and 71, President Richard Nixon created the War on Drugs campaign and signed the Controlled Substance Act, the CSA. So the War on Drugs campaign is a global campaign led by the U.S. federal government to reduce the illegal drug trade in the United States. Yes, I said is because it is still going on to this day. The Controlled Substance Act is a law signed by Nixon, and it placed all substances under the existing federal law into 5 schedules. The DEA, Drug Enforcement Administration, and the FDA, Food and Drug Administration, are the 2 federal agencies that determine which substances are added or removed from the various schedules. The placement is based upon the substance medical use, potential for abuse, and safety or dependency liability. I will go into more details about the War on Drugs campaign and the Controlled Substance Act on another episode. I need to understand what made him think that hippies and black people was the cause of war on drugs. Maybe if he hit the blunt, he would have changed his mind. Crazy thing is, the CSA has marijuana as a high potential for abuse, but has steroids, a Schedule 3 drug, as a less potential, and we all know that's a lie. Anywho, since the legalization of marijuana, medical and recreational-wise, it has been harder for states to create and amend laws pertaining to rules and regulations of a medical marijuana employee in the workplace because of its classification. Years ago, most medical marijuana employees wouldn't even ask their employer if they are protected because of the consequence of a failed drug screen. I mean, I can't vouch for that because I was the same way. When I got approved, I was terrified to ask my job if I was brought in for a random, will I still have a job with a positive result? Thank God my job is protected now and that I don't work on the federal level. Since the federal and state can't get their shit together, they basically left it up to the employers to decide if they want to hire and or fire a medical marijuana employee based off a positive drug test. Now, most employers use the 5-panel drug test that screens amphetamines, cocaine, opiates, marijuana, and PCP. More and more employers are deciding to stop drug testing on new hires or only give them the test and ask the lab not to provide the THC results. Many workplace policies and government regulations are outdated and still used to believe that a positive drug test is an indicator of intoxication. Not one drug screen technology can indicate a definite time of when a person consumed a drug and the levels of that drug. A lab cannot determine if a person is impaired because an individual can metabolize a drug at a different rate. For example, a person who smoked a blunt a month ago can test positive on a hair follicle drug screen and be deemed intoxicated even though they are not. Remember, everybody's body is different. When it comes to drivers, pilots, and whomever else are subject under the U.S. Department of Transportation rules, they must regularly pass drug tests regardless of state cannabis law. Meaning, if you stay in a state where they sell recreational marijuana, you can't even smoke it. Crazy, right? My sister Keisha B was my special guest in my last episode, and she mentioned how she's a driver, and she would love to smoke medical marijuana as an alternative instead of taking pills for her conditions. In my opinion, I think it sucks for people under the DOT because if someone loves driving, flying, etc., and have a condition or illness that can qualify them for medical marijuana, why say they can't get it? It's not fair at all. Moving on to a few state laws in the U.S. Some state laws can vary on the steps employers can use to discipline a current employee or refuse to hire a new employee because of a positive test. Some states provide workplace protection for medical marijuana employees. The anti-discrimination law protects employees from being fired or penalized from using medical marijuana, but allow employers to fire or discipline a worker who is under the influence while at work. A few states are working on addressing the possibility of employees of being under the influence of medical marijuana during the course of their employment. In my opinion, if a doctor can write you a prescription for pills to be under the influence at work, why you can't be under the influence of medical marijuana? Make it make sense. Some people may work better under the influence of medical marijuana. Other states make it very, very clear that employers do not have to accommodate any marijuana use, medical or recreational, even off duty. So unfair, and this plays a part of why the unemployment rate is so high. Why do people have to quit or get fired from a job that they love because they use marijuana, medical or recreational, and their job will not protect them? This is crazy. Now, out of all 50 states, 37 states allow medical marijuana legally, and only 17 of those states establish laws that protect employees from discrimination or consequence for using medical marijuana, okay? Nevada is the only state that accommodate medical marijuana and recreational users. Nevada is the motherfucking GOAT. Do you hear me? But if the federal government changed the classification of marijuana, medical marijuana employees would have the protections of the ADA, Americans with Disabilities Act. Until then, medical marijuana employees will have to look to the state government. Now, the ADA protects employees from being fired or penalized on the basis of drug addiction or alcoholism. Remember, it does not apply to marijuana because of its status. For example, a worker who takes a powerful opiate such as methadone to treat a heroin addiction is covered. But a worker who uses medical marijuana to treat a heroin addiction is not protected. Like, what the fuck? It's the government. It's the freaking government, bruh. Till marijuana become legalized at the federal level, employers are more likely to see significant changes coming from state and local legislation. Now, I have explained medical marijuana in the workforce in general. Let me explain the laws in my state, Louisiana. Let's go! Puff puff Pomelo. Today, I am smoking on my meter dose inhaler. The strain is sativa, and it's called Lumpy Space Princess. It helps with depression, anxiety, and stress. 2 hits, and I feel uplifted and talkative. For more info on this strain and others, check out Capital Pharmacy. The link will be in the description box below. Okay, so my good old state, Louisiana, does not provide medical cannabis anti-discrimination employee protection. These policies are at the discretion of employers. Like I said at the beginning of the episode, federal employees who live in Louisiana can be terminated if they test positive for marijuana. Private employers have the final say in their marijuana policies in their workplace. The House did create a bill, and it was signed into law by Governor Edwards back in June of this year. So basically, the House Bill 988 protects state employees from negative consequences if they are diagnosed with conditions for which a doctor recommends medical marijuana in accordance with state law. This protects state employees from being fired and will protect prospective hires from being discriminated against for use of medical marijuana. However, there are exceptions to the protections. Employers could still penalize the workers who are found to be intoxicated from marijuana on the job. It will also help prevent state employees from being addicted to opiates. But that's a topic I got to talk about another time because, baby, they got people addicted to that drug. But I'm going to be quiet. I'm going to be quiet. Unfortunately, the bill does not apply to law enforcement, firefighters, and other public safety officials. I think they need it as well. Nobody knows the trauma they have to face every day. In September of this year, Louisiana created a medical marijuana task force called the Employment and Medical Marijuana Task Force. The task force discussed a variety of employment issues involving medical marijuana, from employment protections in other states to current Texas options to specify concerns for safety-sensitive jobs like firefighters and first responders. Hopefully, the state will create a bill for law enforcement, firefighters, first responders, and other public safety officials to use medical marijuana. Okay, so this concludes this episode. I hope I was able to provide vital information about medical marijuana in the workforce. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed the show, please rate and review on social media, Facebook and Instagram at Realistically Speaking with KB. And be sure to come back tomorrow, which is Saturday, for my second special guest. And we will be discussing this episode. Until then, this is KB, your host that does the most, and I really have been doing the most. And don't forget to tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend. Live, laugh, love, and peace.